Oh. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Naoto. How are you doing, Naoto?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Good.
Listen, everybody, welcome. Oh, yeah. Anyways, welcome to Japanese Knives 101. It's our weekly Ask Me Anything program from Knifewear. I'm Kevin, and with me is Naoto.
Today.
Usually Chris Lord's in that spot, but he said enough bad things last week and did enough naughty things that he's been benched for this week. So we've got Naoto to keep us on track. Yay, Naoto.
How are you, everyone? Naoto. For those of you who watch, it's a Naoto's Nerd Power Hour on every Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Good to see you guys on this Japanese Knife 101 show as well. But yeah, well, good to see you. Good to see you, Kevin. Well, if you
good seeing you. I haven't seen you in a long time, Naoto.
Yeah, no, it's great. Probably separate apart these days, right? Because the number is up again. So
yeah. There's a pandemic going on. I hear.
It's still happening. So
that's what I hear. Listen, what are we talking about today, Naoto? We're talking about when to sharpen your knife, or how to know when to sharpen your knife, or how often you sharpen your knife, something like that.
Yep. That was the topic. So I guess we can probably start from some announcements, Chris always do, right? The some cool stuff, some announcements. For those of you who's watching, thanks for watching. If you like the video, thumbs up. There's a button underneath, and like it. And please subscribe. If you subscribe, you won't miss any live shows or any new updates or new videos coming up. So subscribe. That will get you updated for every videos that we put out. We try to make a super cool videos, and Knifewear TV is happening pretty soon, which is that got me really exciting. So that's coming pretty soon as well. So
what do you mean Knifewear TV? Are you talking about Sharp Knives Rock?
Oh yeah, Sharp Knives Rock. It's Knifewear TV. The title is Sharp Knives Rock. Yes.
Yes, we're making a TV show now, Naoto. I think you know about this because you're hosting it with Chris Lord and myself. Yep. So it'll be Chris joining us. He'll be joining us from Ottawa virtually, and you and I think will be in the warehouse.
Yes.
And it's going to be a monthly TV show with theme music and everything, guests even, and challenges. What is it? Because the first episode drops here. Maybe we'll put this thing up here. But the first episode drops April 19. Right?
Yep.
And we even have a competition with the first episode. Now, I know that it's a sharpening competition between Mike and myself, but I don't know what the competition is because Naoto set up the competition. So maybe you can tell me, and I'll keep it a secret. And I won't tell Mike what it is because I need every advantage. Because unfortunately, the loser of the knife sharpening competition, which the competition was set by Naoto, and it's going to be judged by Naoto with Mike and I, but the loser has to drink coffee made from the sharpening water.
Yeah. Yep.
So I want Mike to drink it. I think he'll like it.
A little bit of
if you can help me cheat, that would be really good, Naoto. I need some help cheating.
I could give you a bit of again, I was thinking judging criteria. I wanted to make it like a Iron Chef, right? So I wanted to make it the judging criteria of 3 categories and 5 point each.
Oh God. Is it going to be beautiful? Is beautiful one of them?
Beautiful could be one of them. And I will be cutting, not a paper, because you'll be sharpening kitchen knife. I'll be cutting tomatoes and carrots.
Why tomatoes and carrots? Why do you choose those 2 things to test knife sharpness?
So there are 2 criteria, 2 things that you can tell by cutting 2 different things, right? Tomatoes, you will be able to tell how silky your edge is. So if it's super silky, I will be able to cut horizontally without touching the tomato. Like pretty easy, right? Carrots will tell me how thin the knife is and also how bitey the edge is as well. So it's balanced, right? Because when you're cutting carrots and the medallions and say like in a 1/2 inch thickness, right? I can tell how thin the knife is. And like the Shibata-san does, after you make a couple medallions, I will lay it down and I will try to cut make a julienne or matchsticks type of stuff. But doing so, because you've already, as you people who watches this show may know, if you cut the carrots with the super sharp thin knives, what happens on the surface of the carrot? It's going to be so smooth, almost like a glassy, right? It's like so smooth. So in order to cut that smooth surface like really nicely, it needs some things. So I'm going to judge by, cutting test is going to be 2, tomatoes and carrots.
Right?
Yep.
And what else? You said there's 3 criteria. What's the other criteria?
Oh, the look. That's a look.
Okay.
Overall look.
So how do I make it look good?
Yeah. Well, it's going to.
How do I make it look good?
So the little bit of hint, I'm sure you'll be sharpening one of those the knives that we had the competition years ago. We still kept those knives, right? It's very fair, I think, to sharpen the same knives. So they are forged in the core steel, softer steel on the outside. You can.
They're VG5, correct?
Yeah.
They're VG5 from Anryu.
Yeah, it's very simple VG5. But it's semi steel. It has the core VG5 and very soft stainless steel on the outside. So you can make it some people call it kasumi, which is the little smoky on the outside edge and pretty shiny along the edge, or you can make it a lot more consistent all the way through, right? But it's your choice. And what we are planning on doing is that they have the selection of sharpening stones. It's like Iron Chef.
Do I get to have my favorite stones, or are you choosing the stones I'm allowed to use?
You choose the stones.
Okay, good. Can I use the machine? Can I use the wheel?
Yeah. I think so. I think it should be.
Can Mike will probably bring a drill with a buffing rag on it, because he likes polishing things to mirror. Yeah,
I think that those things should be allowed. We were just gonna follow you guys around.
Okay, I really don't want to drink coffee made with sharpening water. I really don't want that. That's very bad.
Yeah.
So, and we've got Wes, my buddy Wes from 8 Ounce Coffee is going to come in and brew the coffee for us. So that'll be nice. The coffee will taste good, except for the water going in. Oh, right. The coffee only has 2 ingredients. If one of the ingredients is not so good, it's probably not going to be good.
So that's something interesting. I'll be I'll be like a chairman, in the Iron Chef, right?
Oh, are you going to say "a la Sharpen"?
Yeah, a la Sharpen. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Listen, it looks like Iggy's saying hello.
Yep.
We got a Don Penny. Interesting to watch the testing. And Corey, listen to this. He must have watched a different show because he says, "Hey guys, I've been watching all the past streams and I've been loving them. There's no other place to learn about Japanese knives and the culture around it like Knifewear. Keep up the great work."
Thank you.
Well, thanks. Tell Chris Armitage if you have anything nice to say, you should send it to Chris Armitage because he's the boss of us here at this show. And he's the one that gave Chris Lord a timeout for being inappropriate. So Chris said, I'll tell you what happened. We get these sheets. We get these notes from Chris Armitage every time. And Chris Lord, who I do the show with generally, instead of telling people to like and subscribe, he told them to dislike and unsubscribe. That's what he said to everybody. He said, dislike and unsubscribe and send bad comments to Chris Armitage at chris@knifewear.com. Oops. Chris Armitage's email's right there. So we told everybody to send him hate mail, and he got really unhappy with us. So now I'm supposed to say, please like the video and please subscribe because I don't want to get in trouble again. Because getting in trouble is, bad. And yes, please like and subscribe, not dislike and unsubscribe, because that would be bad.
Yeah.
Whoops. How can I get it to? Oh, that's not what I want. There, that's what I want. Anyway, please send nice comments. Don't dislike and unsubscribe. Listen, today's our Ask Me Anything show. It's a great time to ask questions. If you have a question, let us know. We will try to answer it. If Chris Lord comes in and makes any comments on this, we're supposed to give him a timeout immediately. So if you guys see a comment from him, let me know because I can time him out. And Iggy says, how can we give Chris Armitage, or how can we give Chris a timeout and keep him from messing with the show? Well, next time he comes in, we'll also give him a timeout. So any Chris's that work for Knifewear are going to get timed out today. There we go. Because that's responsible. That's responsible now, Joe. That's what we should be doing. Kyle also said, hi, everybody. I just got a gyro. First thing I was cutting was carrots and tomatoes.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I think that's the best way to tell if the knife is working properly or how it should. I got my first knife. When I just bought myself a all Sakai Sumi knife, that was the first thing I got. Also, I cut some onions.
Did you just get one of those? What size?
Like 240. I got him like about a month ago. That was fantastic.
You and I both did because I got the 240 and I got the Bunka.
Yeah,
man, those are great. Like those are super fun. Super fun.
It became my go-to, surprisingly. Although that was my first carbon steel Gyuto. It's because of the Kurochi, it doesn't rust as easy. It patinas it very nicely, very nice slow pace as well. So it's pretty good. I have them about a month now, and I honed them about twice. So that kind of comes back to the topic of how often should you sharpen? Should we sharpen? How often just keep the thing topic on track.
Yeah, that's your job. You're supposed to keep me on track today because apparently Chris Lord is very naughty and was very bad, and the show went off the rails because of him. That's what I'm told because I behaved. I always behaved, Naoto. Chris Lord, though, he got off the rails, and so now he's in a timeout. Yeah. Naoto, tell me, Naoto, when do you sharpen your knives?
So I sharpen my knives probably every once a year or longer actually, because I think Kevin, you and I are in a very similar position because we have enough knives to switch around. So when the one knife becomes, it's okay-ish, I will just gonna grab another one.
Yep.
So
I know that game.
Very tricky question, right? So generally, though, once a year, just very easy. Like, say, for example, the old Sakai knife that I purchased pretty recently, I have honed with my honing rod about twice. And I cook pretty much every day. And that old Sakai knives was the primary knife for me. So I was just basically using it for everything. So it's like we say, every 2 to 3 weeks you want to just hone them. That kind of applies to that method, I think. And when the honing rod stops doing anything, that's when you want to put that on the stones for sharpening.
Well, I'll tell you what, I never think about time when I think about when my knives need sharpening. I think about how they're not performing, right? And everybody's got a different level. Like some people, once they get into really good knives, they're like, well, anything below 90% of what it's capable is low enough for me to want to resharpen. And some people are willing to just let it whittle it down until it's as dull as the side of your hand or a spoon. So I think what you're willing to put up with is probably the biggest indicator. I like you now, so I have too many knives. So here, I think you can see my kitchen selection right now is those guys.
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
Only the kitchen selection.
But that's only the kitchen selection, right? Like I've got, if you ever watch the show, I've got a box of knives in my office, just like a big box of knives, just that I keep there, and I think of my knife collection kind of like a museum, where you don't get to see everything the museum has all at once, because they've got stuff in boxes in the back, and that's kind of like my knife selection. So when these start getting dull, yeah, there's some of my knives there. That's some of the collection. On page something of the book. There's no spelling errors on that page of the book, Naoto.
No, here you go.
Do you know there's 3 spelling errors in the book, Naoto? That's the book I wrote. It's called Japanese. It's called the Knife Nerd, which is me, the Knife Nerd Guide to Japanese Kitchen Knives, or Japanese Knives. And I wrote that book a few years ago. Naoto wrote one of the chapters about steel, the only good chapter that was written. Visti Care took all the photos, killed it with that. Keeps winning awards with them, actually. And there's 3 spelling errors in the book, much to my editor's pain, and much to the pain of that one person who returned it and demanded a full refund, because he was so disturbed by the 3 spelling errors, 2 of them on the same page, which was a section I edited, and I didn't give it to Shelley to edit. So that's completely my fault, but they were on like the last 8 pages. There's 2 spelling errors on 1 page. So he read the whole book and then returned it, and we gave him a full refund. Whatever happened to that book now? So did we keep it? Is it on a shelf somewhere? Is it like because we should have that one.
Yeah, like we should. These should be still available.
No, I mean the one that was returned. The one that was returned because of spelling errors. Did we keep that one? Yeah, we should have kept that one. I would have signed that one and given it away sold it to some charity auction.
Should have. Just gonna, I guess there's a quick comment from Philip asking the good low grit stones plus or minus 400 grit. Yeah, that's pretty good. We do also have the Naniwa Professional 400 stone as well. That is pretty good as well.
You know what, Naoto? Can we talk for a second about these stones? Because you and I worked on this for how long? Like it took us a couple of years to get all of these. So we've worked with Naniwa to get this selection of stones for Knifewear. So we've got the 220, the 1000, like you just saw, there are 4000 and 8000 grit stones. Here they are, actually, by hands.
Yeah.
But we worked with these, and we were looking in like their back catalog and stuff that only sold domestically. And we had to have this one too, because this is my favorite sharpening stone in the world, this white Nanawa one. But we've selected these 4 stones from domestic, like Japanese market only and export market, whatever. So we've selected these 4 as the 4 stones that can pretty much do anything for every knives. Like we really worked hard to get a set that sharpens your German knives as well as your super high-end Japanese knives and does it all equally well, right? I don't know. What do you think of this set, Naoto? Because I know we've been using them now for a few years, and we've had a lot more time to settle into them. Do you find you still use these, or do you have other knives or stones that you prefer?
I love those stones, like the Knifewear stones, especially the 220 1000 set. We've had the some other 220 before. When I started it, it was the Arato-kun, right? And it was from the other company, and it was working pretty well.
Well, that used to be my favorite 220 stone. And I used to tell Nanawa that you should make this stone. It's from Yamanishi. You should make this stone. It's good. And he said, we're making one and it's better. I didn't believe him. I didn't believe Satakani-san.
Now, the 220 is great. I find it's better. It keeps the flatness or the shape a lot longer than the Arato-kun. And the grain size is like, it's a preference thing, but I do prefer the Knifewear 220 better than the Arato-kun now. Like I
actually haven't found a 200 or a 220 grit stone that I prefer. I think this one's faster than anything I know of and leaves less aggressive scratches. Right? It's just easier to clean it up on the next stone and make it look good. Like I don't know. I love this stone. I'm with you, Naoto. If we were to change anything, I would change this one slightly or get a second one that's harder. I know that you like this one because it's soft, because it gives a really good look, but I love the speed of another stone. So
another one.
I'm thinking we might want to eventually get a second stone in this set, a second 1000 grit stone, which doesn't make sense, but anyway, that's the only thing I would change about the set, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm happy with all the other stones.
When we were safe and the safe to fly and everything, we should fly back to Japan and talk to them about it. And I do agree. And the Knifewear 1000 is a bit softer side than the what people may be used to, because I do love that stone for putting an edge on, and also what we call it kasumi. It's like smoking up or fogging it up, right?
Well, here so I've got a knife here. I'm sure I've got a knife that's got kasumi finish on it. Well, here, this one sort of. This is a funny one. You know what this one is, right?
Oh, that's it's
from Moritaka's Kakumamo.
Yeah.
So if you look at the edge, it's tarnished and used. But if you look at the edge, right at the very edge, it's shiny, and then it's kind of smoky here. But this is not in good shape. So maybe I should sharpen this one today. Because I've got my stone set up here now. So I thought I should probably practice before we have our competition. Because I don't want to lose.
Right.
Chris or Mike and I are having a competition for sharpening for our TV show called Sharp Knives Rock. That's dropping on April 19. So the show, I don't know what time it's going to be on, but then we're having a directly after it, we're having a live kind of Ask Me Anything after show. So you can watch the show live and then afterward talk to us and ask questions. We'll have Wes, our guest, there. Naoto and I, Chris Armitage, Mike will be there. So you can ask us any questions you had about the episode, which would be great. And yes, Damon, there's no Christopher Lord today because Mr. Chris Lord got himself a timeout. He got a timeout because he was telling people to dislike and unsubscribe, and Chris Armitage got mad at us. So Naoto's here, right here, to keep us in line today, and he's doing a great job so far. I feel very in line. Thank you, Naoto, for being the adult here.
Awesome. Well, yeah, like as the for those of you who just tuning us in, the if you like the show, just like us, subscribe. Try not to miss any shows that we have. We are talking. We're trying to stir it back to the topic when to sharpen knives. I guess it's nice to come back to. But you know what I found and I've read. When to sharpen is very subjective. Depends on the person. Also, people change their skill techniques slightly as you use your knives. So as you use your knives, and as the knife becomes a little bit fuller.
Is that a bad sound?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
That's it. Okay.
Well, maybe I'll just mute myself here. Yeah. And then now, so you talk and I'll.
Yeah. So the as I heard, as you use your knives and the knife becomes slightly duller and duller, human brain is the fantastic. They will change the tiny bit, like techniques, tiny bit of each time, so that it adjusts to that the certain dullness or the certain sharpness of that knife. So if you think your knife is slightly duller than it was before, oftentimes people use a lot more long sliding actions, or the part that you don't usually use. Like if you use the heel part quite a bit, you started using a little bit of mid parts and stuff like that. And a lot of people do it unconsciously rather than sharpen them right away. So that's another thing that that things people do. Yusik, thanks for watching every time, and we do appreciate your comments. Thank you. I like that. I'm gonna put Kevin back on that the unmute, and you can hear it, right, Kevin?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you just fine. Is this a terrible sound?
No, that's fine. The chewing sound was really not the most pleasant sound. So while he's sharpening, though, we do have a couple, I guess, things to share with all of you, I guess, today. Because Kevin, we had that video clip that you chose a knife the other day, right?
That's right. Yeah. Actually,
tell everyone about that a little bit.
I would love to tell you about it. In fact, I'm going to stop sharpening for a second. So when did we launch Tinker Tanks for Shibata-san with Shibata-san? When did we launch that? That was a few years ago.
A few years ago, when Shiba came to us.
Yeah, so we had Shibata-san from Masashi Knives and Kotetsu Knives and Tinker Knives. It was him and Kurosaki and Ikeda. Was there anybody else? Oh, Kato. Young Kato was there too.
Yeah.
And they came to visit us, and we launched the Tinker Tanks, or the Tinker Knives that week. And we had events in Edmonton, Calgary, and Ottawa. So we did forging events in Calgary and Edmonton, and in Ottawa. So we did outdoor forging events with them. But we launched Tinker Tank, this great line. So Shibata-san wanted to make a new knife company and just make unique knives that looked super rustic. He had discovered what the word tinker was. Like a tinker is somebody that tinkers. They mess around in their backyard, or they've got a hobby, right? They're a hobbyist that kind of messes around. So Shiba said, well, I want to make a new group of knives that look rustic. So they're all going to be Kurochi. They're all going to be black finish. They're all going to be wicked sharp, but they're all going to be unique shapes and unique sizes, things we haven't seen before. So far in the line, we've got Tank, which is the big popular one. And I'd show you one, but I actually don't have it. I forgot it at the warehouse, but this is another, we'll get there. So we launched Tank and what was it called? Sabertooth, which is like a what was Sabertooth? It's like it was a Yanagi, but no, it wasn't. Was it single or double? I've only ever saw one.
Yeah, we've only got one batch, and we haven't seen any yet. And there's the shark tooth or shark teeth.
So and then the shark tooth Deba. So it was like a really beefy Deba with a good, cool, pointy shape to it. Mm-hmm. So Shiba said, he's only going to make them in super limited quantities. Ikeda-san's going to forge them. Shibata-san will grind them, polish, sharpen, engrave, and then wrap them. And you'll see they come in like just wrapped in newspaper and packing tape and elastic bands because he wants it to look super unprofessional. But if you look at the knife, like the knives are great. Like if you look at the spine's all rounded and mirror polished, and choil's mirror polished and rounded. And like there's just touches that let you know that real experts made these knives, but they're made to look really ugly. And he told me, Shibata-san said, he goes, I know it's right if I show my wife. And she goes, ugh, that's awful. Who would want to buy that? And he goes, that's when he knows he's really nailed it with a good knife. So we launched these years ago. Honestly, we get probably 50 to 80% of the production of tanks, which is between 0 and 8 every month. Like it's so low production, right? And I've never been able to have one for my own. And I complain about this lots. And then our friend Michael Frowley out in New Zealand, who's been sticking Knifewear stickers and Tinker and Kotetsu stickers on his Ferrari out in New Zealand, which got Shiba's attention because he keeps taking pictures of his knives and his stickered up Ferrari. And he made a deal with Naoto or with Shibata-san and said, "Listen, could you make us 2 tanks? One for him, one for." And as he said, one for Kevin. Write water on one, write fire on the other, and then we'll send them to Calgary. And then I was to make a video where I chose, while they're still wrapped, which one I wanted to open. And then the one I opened was mine, and then the other one went to New Zealand. Now, I know that when I looked at it, honestly, water and fire kanji to me look pretty similar. To me, they do Naoto. I'm illiterate in Japanese. So I think I looked at it and said, oh, I got fire, but it was actually water. Well, so there's that. Anyway, I went and made the video at the warehouse, but there was a lot of things going on, and I was getting ready for an ice fishing trip. And I was on my bicycle that day, and I forgot my knife there. And I still haven't got it yet. Otherwise, I'd have it here. So I'm going to go get it tomorrow when I'm at the warehouse. So next week, you guys can see my Tinker Tank.
Yeah, but let's
a series of 2. We made a video about it.
Yeah, let's play the video where the Kevin is actually choosing whether fire or the water.
Perfect.
Alrighty, let's open that one up there. This here and
so I just found this knife.
This is a
really special, really unique knife. And
hold on,
I think it's Kevin's. Like I think someone sent it to him. He's been having it's so hard to get this knife. It sells so fast that the guy who owns our company.
Naoto, why is my knife?
Hands on one.
Why is my knife in Mike's
someone's bought
kitchen?
One and sent it to him, but before he gets his hands on
Mike, why? Naoto, what have you? Naoto,
hey, look at this. I got a package here from my buddy Michael in New Zealand. Now I know what's in here. This is something I've been waiting for a long time, and Michael made it happen. I wasn't able to. I've always wanted to have a Tinker tank. I've always wanted a Tinker tank, and I've never had the ability to get one because people in the warehouse keep selling this things they come in, and I never get a chance to get my own. But Michael has went and worked some back channels and talked to Shibata-san and said, "Hey, can we get 2 knives made? One that says fire,
Naoto, can you hear
water,
me?
2 Tinker tanks.
Why is my knife in Mike's kitchen?
One he wants, and then we'll send the other one off to Michael. So we're having matching.
I haven't used that knife yet,
Naoto.
Naoto.
This is the one. This one feels righter, more right. Let's see what I got. Oh, I love these handles. I like to call them a reverse handle because they've got the black or the dark.
I do like that handle. I do like that handle a lot.
Ooh.
it howls a bit, so I'm just gonna keep it quiet.
Well, there we go. This was made February 26, 2021. It's a 2 of 2. So this is number 2.
It's a great looking knife. Look at that.
Says fire. So there we go.
It says water.
Thank you, Michael. Now I'm going to go and make some serious good food. Cheers.
This is such a cool knife. Like, this guy's company is called Tinker because he's learned that's a word that sort of is about what hobbyists do. And
is Mike going to use my knife?
So he's designed this.
I haven't even used my knife yet.
He's experimenting with different things.
Oh my god!
And you know,
I hate
he doesn't even put them in boxes.
I hate you
It feels
guys.
like a hobbyist wouldn't have professional boxes. But you know, Shibata-san, the guy behind Tinker Knives, is no amateur, so he still does some pretty cool stuff to use. Let's take a look.
Why on earth does Mike have my knife?
Holy cow!
Naoto, is this you? Is this your doing, or is this Mike's doing?
This guy's no amateur. He likes the aesthetic. You know, he stamped the knife on the date that the knife was made has been stamped on the blade. He hasn't engraved anything by hand because a hobbyist wouldn't do that. Only a tinkerer. Tinkerers stamp things in the blade.
Mike's known for making videos where he chips knives and damages things.
What a long taper to the blade. It's actually hammered shallow in here. This ridge here is a high point along the knife. Well, I think this is just going to fly through some stuff. What do you think?
Oh my
Should I cut a
god,
cabbage with
you
it?
jerks.
So
You
this
guys
is stainless
suck.
steel
You
clad
guys,
on
you
Algami
guys
Super,
suck.
which means we've got a layer on the outside that's a stainless steel that's going to keep the knife nice and rigid. But boy, this has got some weight to it. And I think Algami Super makes the best knife possible.
I haven't even used it yet. I haven't even used it yet.
Oh,
I hate you, Mike.
this. Look at this. I'm not even holding the knife.
God. I'm going to cut his hand off.
I just cut with one finger. Oh,
Am I never allowed to have something nice now,
It just
Todd?
comes to a complete stop when it hits the cutting board. Oh my.
Does cut nicely, doesn't it?
Shibata-san, you have outdone yourself.
Oh my god. I'm going to kill Mike. I'm going to kill Mike. That's it. I'm going to kill Mike. What was that all about?
It was. I was. Well,
Okay.
I have to do with that video. It was filmed at the elsewhere. It's not the warehouse.
Yeah, it's at Mike's house.
Yeah. So
Mike's got my knife. Is Mike at the warehouse today?
no, he's too scared to come in today.
Mike, if you're watching, you're dead. I know where you live.
Yep. Yep. Well, it was fun.
Oh, you're a jerk. Now, did you give that to Mike? Was that you?
No, me no. Yeah. It was
When
fun.
did that happen? Because listen, Naoto, listen. I haven't used that knife yet. I've been waiting years for one of those. I finally got one.
Yeah.
And Mike went and used it because I left it at the warehouse because I forgot it there because I was busy and you guys are terrible humans. Naoto?
Well, Mike must have
you,
come
wasn't
here when I wasn't here. Like, you know, he must have come in when we were all gone. You know, we know nothing. We know nothing about it.
Thumbs down to you guys. Stick it. Fine, let's move on. There's got to be something else we need to talk about.
There you
Listen.
go.
Is there a purpose to that much blade height?
Oh.
Yes. I think there's two big purposes. One, it makes the knife heavier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So blasting through cabbage or potatoes is real easy. The second is that it's that tall to go like to, I don't know. So it just goes all the way through things like cabbage easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just the extra size of it makes it easier to cut. And you saw how he was cutting that cabbage there. That was brilliant. That's my knife, and I haven't used it yet, and I hate you guys. This is why am I not allowed nice things? That's what I want to know. Why don't you let me have nice things?
I feel though.
I'm moving on.
Moving on. There you go.
So I want the book, but I'm wondering how long until V2 is out. More than a year. Naoto and Visti and I still have to go to Japan and take all the photos, and I haven't met everybody yet because we've made some new friends since the last time I was there. That I was supposed to meet everybody in April of last year. It's like a year ago I was supposed to be going on. April 14th was the day I was leaving. Visti and I were going to go take photos, meet everybody. I even bought a folding bike for the trip. We were going to go biking and everything. It was going to be so much fun. And this thing happened. There's a pandemic now, so I don't know if you know. So the new book, the new version is more than a year out, I think. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, the again, as Kevin mentioned, we made lots of new friends, new suppliers, new blacksmith knife makers. I guess like I can just show this. One of whom is this young blacksmith called Miyazaki-san. Miyazaki-san is relatively young. He is my age. Like he's a little bit younger than me. For those of you who don't know what age I am, I'm mid-30s. So he is in mid-30s, young, relatively young blacksmith. He's learned to make a blade from this very old, long-lasting, very famous in that region blacksmith called Obasan in Fukuoka region. And that particular blacksmithing, the Obasan is very known for making this type of so-called Hakata blade. So he learned how to make Hakata blades, and from here he took it to his own journey, I guess. Like he moved back where he was from, which is in the small islands in the Nagasaki area. It's called Goto Islands, and he started his own workshop. Now he is starting to get a lot more into his own style. He was only making this shape and size before, and his master did, he was only making out of yellow carbon steel. But he started taking a little bit more into knife making, and now this one, for example, is made of blue number 2 carbon steel with stainless clad. So he's getting into stainless cladding games and stuff like that as well. And we're hoping to get some Nashiji and Tsuchime lines of his knives pretty soon. Maybe.
Naoto, did you go and meet him when you were there?
No, I get to actually.
You were in Japan more recently than me.
Not this guy. I did meet.
Because I was there. What, October 9th, 2019? Mm-hmm. Oh my God! Yeah. And you were there in January 2020.
Yeah. So I didn't get to meet this guy. I got to actually meet him online the other day over the Zoom. That's what the people meet these days, right?
Yep.
But I did actually get to talk to him online and talk hard about what he believes in and stuff like that. But the guy I get to meet was the Manaka-san, which we're hoping to have enough knives for the next garage sale again. We did have some knives for the garage sale last time, and I do have some knives coming, but I haven't had the confirmation yet. But hopefully, it will arrive by May.
Well, and what happens in May, Naoto?
May we will have I kind of briefly said it, but it's called garage sale.
Yeah, what is that?
What is garage sale? Garage sale is
the best week ever.
Yeah. There are a lot of blacksmiths that we deal with, like say, the Miyazaki-san, or the other blacksmith, who works basically by himself. We can't get enough to keep them ear through the ear long, so we order them for this occasion called garage sale to showcase the work of these smaller blacksmiths as well as the mainstream blacksmith like Kato or the Kurosaki or Saji that makes enough knives, but sometimes makes some super cool, unique blades, and we like to kind of keep them and have them at the all once. That's the showcasing their different works. That's our garage sale. That's coming up on the long weekend of the May, which is Victory Day, I think. Victory Day. So that's
named after Queen Victoria.
Yes, for those who is tuning in from the United States.
And for anybody who's a monarchist, they're very happy. I'm not that interested.
No.
I do like getting a long weekend in May, though.
Yeah.
So it starts the Monday before the long weekend,
yeah.
and then it goes through, and it even goes the Monday of the long weekend. So you get an extra day on the sale in May, which is great. And it's one-of-a-kind stuff. It's blacksmiths we don't normally deal with. It's overstock things. It's weird stuff. We get all kinds of, and there's even some scratch and dents, some retired sample knives. So there'll be lots of interesting things, and then lots of cheap things too. And it's all priced to go. It's kind of like a record. What's it called? Record day, where you get special released records mixed with a garage sale that's also got really cheap stuff that are damaged, and kind of everything in between. So it's all irregular stock. Irregular stock, but unique stuff. Yeah.
I'll grab one example.
Well, you've got some garage sale stuff. Well, I've got a garage sale thing in my kitchen here too. So this was here. These were two typical garage sale things. This is a Kobayashi. Look at this handle. This is a Kobayashi R2 Damascus steel knife that we carry, but this has a special handle from our man Dustin. So this is my knife, and so this is the sort of thing you'll see at garage sale. Also, this too. So this is a Fujiwara Denka 150 petty, but here, look at the handle. Woo, look at that wild handle.
So something like this.
These are typical garage sale kind of items.
Yeah. So something like these ones, we get the blade, we put the handle, and we'll sell something like these guys.
Oh, what blade is that? I can't see.
It's not attached yet. But yeah, these were something that we are working on. So these will become available online, and some stores. We'll still probably have to limit the people coming to the stores in May. Unfortunately, we're hoping not, but unfortunately, we'll probably have to limit the people. So the garage sale will probably be mainly from the online.
Well, we're going to do that all the time now. You know what? We used to always have the garage sale just in the store. And then the last couple, we've had all the photos of everything online as early as we can get it so you can have a preview. We flick the switch and turn the sale on at the same time everywhere. And it worked really well. Like the last two, we've done a 6 or 8 hour live videos that you, me, and Mike and Nathan, the four of us, did like a live event like this. But people would ask us questions, and we would hold up the knife, give lots of good views of the knife, talk about it. We had calipers, so we could measure in microns. We had a scale, a drug dealer kind of scale that we could scale and measure really accurately, and a tape measure, a ruler to measure length.
Yep.
And people would ask us questions, and we could answer all the questions. So we would give you, like, it's hard sometimes to buy a knife you can't touch, but we would give you all of the information we could give you to make it feel like you had it in your hand, right?
Yeah.
And we do that live for the first 6 or 8 hours of the show, or of the sale, and that's quite fun, right?
And we'll have the better video now. So for those of you who's watching,
we'll have a much better camera.
Yeah, you get a much better view, much better focus, much better sound, like that as well. Okay.
Soon I'll have my better camera and better sound set up here at my house too, but I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons Chris Lord and I are in trouble and we're not allowed to do the show together anymore. So I have to get more professional. Listen, Aaron Patton, he said, I got my chef's press from Knifewear today. And then at the end, he says, oh, damn, I spelled Knifewear wrong. I don't know why I can't spell it right. Well, Aaron Patton, it's clearly because you're just, a jerk. So you spell it wrong on purpose. Here. These are my stack of chef's presses at home. So these are it's Australian, is it? No, it says California. They're made in Oakland, California.
Yeah.
And what they are is they're a weight. So if you have something like, if you look behind me here, I got a flat top in the middle of my oven there, my stove top. So if I can put, like, for example, I'll put a chicken breast on the flat top and then put a little weight on top, and it just speeds up the cooking process and makes it get a really good sear on the other side. It's great for steaks and burgers and chicken breast, things like that. Yeah. Makes it go faster, but it gives you good sear. And also, if you wanted to do something like spatchcock, we used to do spatchcocked quails at River Cafe when I was working there. We'd throw the quail in the hot oven, but we would cook it right on because we had a wood-fired oven. We'd cook it right on the stone, and we'd put a press on it, except we didn't have a press like this, which allows the steam to escape, which is really smart. We just used actually a brick. So we had a stack of bricks beside us that had all been through the dishwasher, and we just put a brick on top. And eventually all the bricks broke. And then we had other things. We'd wrap stuff in tin foil. So we'd have like pieces of bricks all wrapped up in tin foil. These are way smarter. You can get the small size. I don't know how heavy the small size is. I think it's a bit light, to be honest.
It's an 8 or get the heavy size. 13 ounce. It's either 8 or 13 ounce.
I've got the big ones. And you can even stack 4 on there if you wanted to really press something like a brick. So I've been experimenting with these, and I'm a big fan. Super fun. I love them. Love them. I can't believe such a simple design, and I can't believe somebody else didn't do it first.
Yeah, I love this one. When I cook, say, pork chop or pork loins and stuff like that, they like to curl up, right? And this is actually not too heavy. I don't want to press too hard so that the old juice comes out, right? This is just enough to keep the, like, say, chicken thigh, and sear the skin down, make it really crispy skin. This is just enough weight to keep all the skin attached to the plate or the sear. So it's pretty good stuff.
I'm a fan.
Press because it just squeezes all the juices out.
Listen, Corey Phillips is asking, I want to decide between a 240 Shibata R2 Kotetsu and a 240 Kobayashi R2. What would be the main differences? Well, I've got the Kobayashi R2. I just showed you mine, the Damascus one. And I've got the Kotetsu. I don't have it available here to look at it right side by side. But, they're both very thin knives. They're both beautiful to cut with. They're both silky smooth cutters. I actually think the Kotetsu, you can make it feel sharper. And I don't know if you can, but I think you can. But I like the Damascus on the Kobayashi. And don't tell Shibata-san, I'm going to say go for the Kobayashi because I love the Damascus. But if you're looking for the sharpest knife you can get in the world, go get the R2 Kotetsu.
I'm gonna stand along the Shibata Kotetsu 240. I like the Shibata-san's thinking behind the Kotetsu. Making at the side a little bit rougher, so that food falls off a little bit easy. His ultimate test is cut the carrots, and he sharpens in a way that one side, and he does that for the Kotetsu as well, right? One side, he sharpens different grits on either side. So I kind of stand along the Shibata-san. I won't tell Shibata-san though that you chose the Kobayashi.
Yeah, don't tell him that. Also, the first time I met Kobayashi, him and I had a funny day because we spent the day hiding in a gyoza bar. Actually, we spent the day hiding in a number of bars from a typhoon. There was a huge typhoon coming, and they kept saying it was like the biggest typhoon of the season, and it was going to destroy the city we were in. And I don't know why we went there because that seemed like a very bad idea. Every time I was near a 7-Eleven, I stocked up on water, and I had just like a random collection in my backpack of food that was completely stupid and useless, but I was prepared for disaster. And it turned out to be a big nothing. I think the damage in the town we were in, Seki, or Gifu, I think Seki, we're in Seki. I think the damage was 2 bikes fell over in the wind, and my jacket got a little bit wet. There was just a big nothing in our area. Don't worry, there was areas like even Tokyo got really whomped by that one. But the area we were in was supposed to be the worst hit, and it turned out that it just missed us at the last second. But we spent our time hiding in a bar, drinking beer and eating gyoza. Which
isn't that when you found? Isn't that when you found the weird bar with the?
We did. We found the coolest gyoza bar. That's why we stayed there.
That was that gyoza bar. Yeah. Okay.
And it was called. I believe it was called Girls, 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 or maybe it was just called Girls or Girl. But anyway, we had a transgender operator there. She owned and operated the place. It was only gyoza and beer and sake and a few spirits. And she was dressed in this really crazy outfit. And she had a swing, a big swing, like a big trapeze swing down the center of the bar. Like, I think it had 3 tables of 4, 4, and 6, and then a few chairs at the bar. And that was it. There was a big swing in the middle. And she would get out and do swings and do like trapeze acts and stuff. It was awesome. We had so much fun. And the gyoza was great.
I actually have seen that the bar on Japanese TV, and I was like,
"Oh, have you really? Okay, tell me about it, because we just found it. It was because most places were closed that day. That's how we ended up there. We're just wandering around, and I went, "That place is open. Let's go there." And then we walked in, and we're like, "Well, this is a different place." It was so much fun.
Apparently, that was like that is really big tourist attraction in that area around it, and I think. In a Food Network, they had world craziest restaurants or something, and they were featured on there. I can't remember, but I remember seeing that particular restaurant with the swing in the middle. So,
well, that's awesome because anyway, hilarious, and we found it by pure accident. But it had lots of signatures on the walls of famous people and boy bands and sumo wrestlers. So there was lots of people had been there, but we were the only table there that night because the whole city shut down out of fear of this typhoon that didn't happen, and we just ended up hiding out there. So that was fun. That was fun. Listen, guys, ask us anything. Today's the Ask Us Anything show, and we'll let you we'll answer your questions. For example, Fighting Usyk asked us when the new version of the book is coming out, and I said it's going to be at least a year, maybe a year and a half. Is the current version still available? Yes, it is. It's available from knifewear.com, and if you want it signed, put a note in there and I'll sign it. Somebody asked me recently if I'd sign one that he bought on Amazon, and I said no, because I'm not Amazon. I can't actually go to their warehouse and say, "Hey guys, let me sign that book." So if you want to sign one, ask us. Put it in the note when you buy it, and we'll make sure we sign it. Naoto will sign the nerd steel section. That section. Like. Yeah. Here's one for you, Naoto.
Oh. How does Masashi VS1 on Koi compare to his SLD? It's a great question. It is a great question. I do have his SLD knives, both in the polished one, the Kimuri. Well, it's a former Kimuri, so it's the Teratero. It's almost mirror polished one. Also, I have Kuroshu with the SLD core. Both works fantastic. VS1 is the steel that is designed for actually. Well, it's not really designed for the kitchen knife making, but he found all the carbides that creates with the VS1, it creates certainly a little bit more toothier edge. That is great to actually portion out the raw meats and stuff like that. So if you're going to use that, the VS1 for taking down whole chicken, or get a whole tenderloin and portioning it out, VS1 is fantastic. Also, for those of you who like a little bit more toothier edge, the VS1 is a fantastic steel for that. SLD, I found it keeps really nice, smooth, silky edge for a little bit longer. Also, he actually makes the SLD a bit harder than than what most people believe that SLD can get. So his Rockwell hardness scale is actually a little bit harder. It's still secret, but he has started doing a some other treatment for his SLD knives that will make the wear resistance better than ever before. He was experimenting it the other day, and his employees and his wives were using all the SLD knives, and he told us that now with the special treatment on the SLD knives, it seems like it's holding edge about 50% longer than it used to. So that's something that I am very curious about.
I'm excited to hear that too, or see it. I mean,
yeah.
We should do a test. We should make a video where we do a test. We test an old one versus a new one.
Yeah. It's gonna take a long time though, because you have to just keep cutting, because it's a wear resistance, right?
Well, what we can do is we can give both knives to a chef that cuts a lot of hash browns for a brunch. Because I know when I was working at River Cafe, every Friday evening I'd cut 120 pounds of potatoes into cubes. Yeah, that's the excitement of my job. It used to be. So 4 huge 40-pound bags of potatoes into hash browns. Mm-hmm. We've got a fun question here. How about Cutco versus Farberware? Who wins? Well, if you're looking at both of them for fighting knives, whoever gets stabbed the most loses. But if you're going to use them in the kitchen, use neither. Yeah. How about that for an answer?
Yeah. They cut very similar. not cut. They're very thick.
Dustin's knives, Dustin's handles. These high quality, cool psychedelic handles from Dustin. He makes good stuff. So looks like Fight Music just got one of his. And this is the part I like. Dustin's a fan of Mr. Kevin Kent. That's me.
Yeah.
Here we go. More questions. Keep them coming, guys. We like questions because then we can stay on topic. Otherwise, Chris Armitage fires one of us. That's why Chris Lord's not here, because he wouldn't stay on topic. But look at how good Naoto and I are being today. And we're supposed to say like and subscribe. We're not supposed to say dislike and unsubscribe. Although if you disliked and unsubscribe, it's still kind of funny. But if you subscribe, you'll know when we launch our videos, and you'll know when we launch our new TV show. And if you like us, they'll make us keep coming back. So there you go. So if you don't want any more of this garbage, dislike us, and then we want it to come back. Fight Music says 28 people watching and only 18 likes. That's because people watch things they don't like, obviously. Okay, Damon. Buddy Damon says, speaking of small makers, that Mazaki Shiro #2, holy smokes, keeps an amazing edge, but sharpens so easily. You have one of these, don't you, Naoto?
No, I don't have Mazaki, actually.
Mike does. Mike's got a couple. I thought you did.
I don't, but Mazaki-san's knives is one of my list as well. The great thing about his knives is that he hand finishes everything, right? On the side, oftentimes, people just use the sand blast to do that stuff. He wanted to make his knives unique from other knife makers around that region, because that Sanjo is very famous for kitchen knife making, and there are a lot of different knife makers around, right? So he's an outsider. He wasn't born and raised in that particular region. He was from Hokkaido, and ended up being in that region, become a blacksmith. So he doesn't have any relatives or any old connection to it. So he had to make his knives stands out and unique, so that the different from the other knife makers. So like shapes are so unique these days. How he forges like from the tang, or where the hand, like the tang, it to the point, it just tapers so crazy. I did actually measure the other day, where the handle is. It's like 5 millimeter thick, and it tapers it down to almost like 1.2 millimeters to the tip. So I'm like, that is super big taper. Again, the sharpen's very easy because he hand finishes his knives, so that there's no low points, low spots. It's just really easy to sharpen.
Yeah. He's just got a high talent. I like that guy, and a fun story that he spent time driving his motorcycle around Japan.
Yeah.
Iggy here is saying prefers the garage sale online. Obviously, Iggy doesn't live close to one of our stores, so that's good. And Aaron Patton says the world's greatest grilled cheese is made with these chef presses. Yeah, agreed.
Or flat bacon. That's what the other one.
Yeah. Damon says something really smart. He says, if you guys do a long live stream like we do every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Mountain with Japanese Knives 101, or every Thursday at 7, what time is it? 7:20?
Yeah.
7:10 p.m. West with Francis and Owen, when they sharpen stuff. And then on Fridays at 4 p.m. Mountain, where Naoto has the Naoto Mega Nerd Hour. No, what's it called?
Nerd Power Nerd Hour? Nerd Power Hour?
Nerd Power Hour.
Nerd Hour, or something like that along the line.
Anyway, and that's on every Friday. So Damon, Chris, send Chris Armitage that message.
Yeah. If
you guys do a long stream, create the little timestamp for each knife so people can find it easily when they rewatch the video. That's a great idea. You should send that idea right now to Chris Armitage and tell him how great this show is, and that we really stayed on track this time and didn't go off track. Because if we're really good this week, Chris Armitage or Chris Lord might come back. So send Chris Armitage that message. That's awesome. It's a really smart idea.
I'm sure he looked at it too, right? The comment below, he said.
Oh yeah, it looks like he did look at it.
Yeah, he did look at it.
All right. And Andrew Longstash says, drinking beer, what a punishment. Yeah, Lord probably is drinking beer right now. Actually, he's working at the shop, I think, in Ottawa today.
Yeah.
Corey says, looking for performance mostly, so I think I'll grab the Kotetsu. And I'll keep the Kobayashi in mind for Tsujihiki. Thanks, guys. So there you go. That's Naoto's choice, is the Kotetsu. Again, like I said, I am a sucker for Damascus steel. And I'm a sucker for thin R2 knives. And that's what this one is here. And if you look at the edge of this knife, Naoto, oh my God. I've just treated this knife so badly.
I know how thin that knife is. And I can definitely see how crazy it's going to come. But I've never met the Kobayashi-san either, right? So that's
you don't have the connection. You don't have the connection.
Yeah. But let me give you an update. The Kotetsu production was a little bit slowed because of the little bit of problem with the production problem in the factory. But seems like it has resumed. So we should be seeing a lot more Kotetsu come in the next couple of months. So
yeah. Well, this whole thing, this whole year has been hard on everybody, and it's slowed things down everywhere. James Dina says, "Is there a Japanese knife for blocks of cheese and hard cured meats? I gave a friend a sasame, and he's using it for cheese." Well, if you're talking hard cheese as hard as Parmesan, use a screwdriver to break parmesan apart. Don't use a knife. You'll just break it. I don't know. Now, what do you think?
Traditional.
I know. Hold on a second. I was going to say I know that a Yodeva, which is basically like a really fat Gyuto, is what the chef at Elisa Steakhouse in Vancouver. He's a buddy of ours, but he uses a Yodeva for things like that. So he's got a Yodeva for kind of whacking through bad things.
If it's just the block, like it's not. Most people at home, they don't buy a wheel of cheese, right? People just get the wedges. When I get a wedges Parmesan, it's not like a super high end, but it's got a still nice salt crystals and stuff like that. I just cut it. I can actually use any knife to cut it straight down. I don't twist, but do that.
It's the twisting. It's the twisting and the hacking.
Yeah.
Hacking or twisting. That's the problem. Yeah. Avoid that, and your knife will be fine.
Yeah. We are, though, looking actually the classic cheese knife shape. Their production is slow, so we may be looking those ones coming in right before Christmas.
From where?
It's the lots of project that I'm working on. I
don't know about this project. Oh, you're buying secret things.
Yes. Well, it's not a secret. But
it's a secret to me.
But there's this knife maker makes great lines of knives, including some cheese knives, with pretty reasonably priced for Japanese steels. So we'll be getting that around November, December-ish. But hopefully that comes pretty quick. But one of those traditional cheese knife with the serrated and two big holes.
Cool. I want to see it.
Yeah.
All right. Blank says, I've got an actual question. Have you guys seen the new steel CPM Magna Cut? And if so, what do you guys think of it? First time I've heard of it.
We're not really familiar with any CPM steels, right? The Crucible or... So from what I can see, so it's a Crucible steel. It's like S30V or S35 CV. That's the same maker, right? Not many.
And where is this maker?
Crucible is an American maker, American steel maker.
Listen, I'm going to get back to sharpening this knife too.
Okay. So a lot of the information, I to be quite honest, I have to kind of use them to see how it reacts. Seems like it only has 10 point, like a little bit over 10% of chromium in it. So I would probably consider as a patina is pretty easy. It will get really nice hardness on this one here as well. So it's really hard. Like we have to use them to see how it does. Okay, so see.
There's a lot of questions around. What's the next question?
Let's see. Which one did you?
That one.
Yeah. When you sharpen a knife, you can see the thin paper cut as a test. Is that just a show, or is it something? So Aaron, the cutting paper is a great test for how smooth the edge is. If we use a particularly very thin paper, we actually use, like in the warehouse, we use the phone book paper, super thin.
You can get that, yeah.
Yeah, it's great because if there's a tiny burr, it will actually tears the paper very easy. So that tells you a couple of things. Also, if you leave the tiny chip on the blade, that fine piece of paper will catch it, grabs, and you can be able to tell if that where you have that chip and stuff like that. So that is really the test that we do.
There you go, Naoto. How's my Kasumi finish coming?
Well, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty even. Yeah.
Whoop, there we go. It's coming along. So there we go. And all I've done, Naoto, back to this, is I've got our Knifewear 1000 grit stone, and I used the Niagara, the 1000 Niagara that we have, just to make some mud or swarf on the top.
Yeah.
And then again, I just worked on that bevel.
Nice.
Just easy, right?
Yeah. It's just put it down flat, and just work on. I'm just gonna answer one question from James Wong. He watches the show at like pretty much every show we throw, especially like our sharpening show, and asking if we have any tips on sharpening the sakimaru, the tip part of that sakimaru yanagi.
Ask Naoto to do it. That's what I do.
Yeah. Tip really, like James, you know how to sharpen knives. Really, tip is the have that angle put flat on the bevel, work a little bit and see where it attaches, and make sure you can keep that dividing line between the edge to the sakimaru point at clear. So just really be careful. That's do it slow and know where you're sharpening, and that's really the easiest way.
I think so.
Yeah.
Naoto.
Yeah.
I still know how to sharpen a knife.
Good.
All right. Good. All right. Happy. Good. Now I can get on with my day.
Yeah. All right. So there are, usual stuff asking. I don't know. Here. Okay. I don't know if you want to answer that. There's an answer.
Yes. Naoto, I'll tell you what, I don't know much about Switzerland, but their flag's a big plus. Yeah. I tell that joke every week because Chris Lord loves it. And that's the thing. We do it every week because Chris Lord is just a big fan of that joke. I don't know why he thinks it's so funny, but he just loves it. He's funny that way,
Yeah. One of the most Alrighty. So Blank thinks that the Thursday sharpening show is too short. I mean, it's aired from Vancouver, and they do it from 6, and they have to be home by 7. So
they do it after they finish work.
Yeah.
So they do it at the end of the day. So they actually work a whole 8 hours and then do the show after.
Yeah.
So we can cut them a bit of slack.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah. There are quite a few comments, questions. Kevin, you may want to point out a few.
What about this one? How about this? I find a Tsunehisa G3 Nikiri is nice for cheese and not overly hard meats.
The Tsunehisa the G3 Ginsan is very. I think the one that we had was the polished, the regular knife. It's the. It looks almost like a. What's that? Haruyuki Kuma series. But it's just a Ginsan.
Oh, back to that new steel. Here, we got lots of comments here. It's a stainless V4 from what I've heard. Should be good for kitchen knives. All right. And...
Don't really interested, but...
And here we go. Not positive, but they added nitrogen to the steel, so it can become very stain resistant with less chromium.
Oh, I see.
I don't know anything about that.
It's like there was another steel in Japan that was the nitrogen was added. Nitrogen was added to the steel that made the steel almost like really non-stainless. It's like you can use it in like saltwater, like diving knives and stuff like that. That was, yeah, I knew that steel had that little nitrogen in it. Ah, nice.
There you go. Something to talk about. I'm going to the Ottawa store on Saturday. There you go. Charlie Davidson, we'll see you in the Ottawa store on Saturday. There was a new tightening of restrictions in Ottawa. Actually, this is something I want to talk about because ever since June, we reopened all of our stores on June 8th, right? And we've had in place a limit on the number of customers in the shop. We sanitize everybody's hands that come in and then re-sanitize as people fidget with their masks. We sanitize knives for sharpening before and after. And we've got 100% mask policy. If you're in the shop, you wear a mask, right? Does it mean that you can't shop with us if you can't wear a mask? We can help you online. We can help you over Skype, no problem. We've had these measures in since June, and it's really interesting that as these different areas like Ontario and Alberta, as they tighten up their restrictions or tighten up their policies, we haven't had to change ours at all, because that's how good our systems were from the beginning. We talked with 4 different doctors at the beginning, and a friend of mine who actually lived through SARS in Hong Kong. So before, during, and after SARS, and we talked about how Hong Kong has changed because of it. And we made our protocols with all this information, and our protocols are nice and tight, and we haven't had any troubles. So there you go. So if you're going to come to the shop on Ottawa, no worries. Just make sure you bring a mask. We also have masks at the front door in case you forget.
The just wanted to comment, and actually a little bit of news because of the restriction that's happening in the in Ottawa, Ontario region, as well as in Vancouver. So many restaurants are suffering. So many they're only allowed to have the takeouts, or the no inside eat-ins or anything are allowed right now. We are taking it seriously, and we want to help those people in actually work in industry. So we are offering in Ottawa and in Ottawa, Sharpen, and Vancouver, for those of you who's working in the kitchen, we'll get the 100% free sharpening during this partial lockdowns. We want to help you guys out, and it's good time that you maybe just partially laid off a little bit, and but don't worry, just bring your knives in and get your knife sharpened. We got your back covered on that thing.
There we go. I love that we're doing this. So yeah, if you're a chef in Ottawa or a chef in Vancouver, you're probably, your hours have been impacted. Your livelihood's been impacted. You probably are making very little money or no money possibly. Bring your knives in and we'll sharpen it for free. We'll sharpen it for free. We just want you to have good sharp knives. So take advantage and come in for free sharpening, guys. So chefs in Vancouver and chefs in Ottawa, just come to the shop for free sharpening.
Totally forgot to mention that. So
I'm really happy we're doing that too. Like it's just our idea of trying to help out the industry. You and I, we first met in a restaurant because you were our waiter at Sushi BP.
Yeah.
And best waiter in Calgary.
Oh, thank you.
Fujimoto right there, best waiter in Calgary. And obviously I worked as a chef for many, many years. Chris Lord, Mike, Nathan, Owen, Francis, Chris Armitage, like so many of our staff are from that industry, and we really connect with the restaurant industry. So we want to give back whenever we can, right? And one way is to sharpen chef's knives for free when they're out of work. So that's something I'm really proud that we're doing. Do you want to talk about that steel more now? There's a whole lot of talk about that steel going on. Yeah,
the figure, like I found the Usyk and Blank was saying I remember it was H1 steel from Japan. I've seen one steel a knife made out of the H1 from Saji, because Saji-san like to use some like weird steels, right?
Yeah.
Also, we're not allowed to import them in, but there is a company called G Sakai in Seki makes the pocket knives out of the pocket knives, or the little hunting knives type of stuff from H1 steel. And I have very little experience with that steel, so it's really hard to make a judgment call on that. But seems like it's a good steel, and I'm very interested, for sure, to use them.
All right. I have some announcements to make. One, dislike and unsubscribe immediately. So if you like what you're seeing here and you want to see it continue, press like. If you dislike this a lot, intensely, press the dislike button. That's the thumbs down. Give it that. Give it the old thumbs down, and then you don't have to see us again on Mondays, Tuesdays. What day is it? Tuesday. Also, subscribe, and you will be notified as soon as things happen, as soon as videos are launched. Naoto, do we have that video queued up with My Knife is Bent?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Okay, so we got another video to show here about bent knives. So that's good to know. So we'll cue that up for right now. But listen, April 19th, our show, Sharp Knives Rock, first episode hits the airways April 19th. It's a live show with videos and comments and competitions. So you can tune in for that. We've even got a funky theme song that Owen and Jeevan in Vancouver made on their iPhone. So the qualities were really good. So that'll come in. So if you subscribe, boom, you'll get notifications when these things are going up. So that's always a good thing. And Fight Music says we've got 20 likes now. He reckons that's probably a record, because mostly we get 20 dislikes. So there you go.
There you go.
So yes, dislike or like, do whatever you like. Do whatever you want. Knock yourselves out. We've got a few things to talk about. Fujimoto Hanasukis are back in stock. Do you know about this, Mr. Naoto? You look confused. Am I lying to people?
We do have a few we had them in stock. Yeah. We have them in stock for sure. It's not back in stock. We have them in stock.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Because our Hanasuki class will be back eventually. Oh, there's a video for that too. Well, there's a lot of videos to run today.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we run the Why is my Japanese knife bent?
Yeah. Well,
why don't we run that?
Yeah. I'm just
and maybe I won't be so angry about that one, because the one when you ran about my tank knife, I was very unhappy because you stole my knife and then gave it to Mike to go and abuse and do a video with. And that was just unkind. Now, so I don't know why you did it, but you did. So,
okay, let's play the video.
Have you tried to cut food straight and you have a hard time doing so? Your knife may be bent.
Sorry.
So here's how to fix it. We're here to make a cooking experience.
I'm going to mute
press the button once.
Like us, subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications so you don't miss the videos. So
who's that guy?
knives can be bent or bent over time for several reasons. Most common reason is when you smash the garlic over and over on a
don't do that.
like this way. There are some other reasons, like a natural cause, especially for the knives that's single bevel knives. Those two different steels pull each other and causing the knife to bend over time naturally. Another reason why knives can be bent is that when you drop the knife on the floor, or when you keep your knives in a drawer and get stuck and try to
Naoto, you can watch yourself. Just do it, Naoto. I have to sometimes. It's terrible.
It's very obvious, but when you try to cut food straight, your knife needs to be straight. Also, another reason is that when you're sharpening a knife should be straight because you're sharpening on a flat surface. So when the knife is bent, it doesn't touch on the flat surface of the sharpening stone, and that will cause the knife shape to be deformed. So how do you check if the knife is bent or straight? I usually check it from the edge side. Some people try to do it from the spine side, but it makes it a little bit difficult because some of the handmade knives, they have slightly uneven thickness on the spine, so that makes it a little bit hard to tell if it's perfectly straight. Ultimately, what you're cutting is the edge part, so you want to have the edge straight rather than spine. Some people test their straightness of the edge on the tables or some sort of flat surfaces by putting the edge down on it. This doesn't always work for the most Japanese knives because most Japanese knives have the nice bullet-shaped taper from where the handle attached and it goes to the tip like this. So when you put the knife on the table like this, it touches on the heel part, but because it has this bullet shape, there's always the little bit of space at the tip part. Best way to tell if the knife is slightly bent.
But that's good grinding. That's how that happens,
heel,
right? Like that's just a
holding
quality
the
knife.
like this way and reflecting.
Right, a stamped blade won't have that.
So that you can see how the very thin line of the reflection goes, and if it aligns from the tip to the heel. Once you have seen enough knives with a slight bend, you really become sensitive to the tiny bit of imperfection on the blade. And like anything, it takes practice. This is a bendy stick. Most Japanese knife makers, retailers, and sharpeners, they do have one of these tools. It usually consists of different type of slits to fix different type of bends. So bigger slots are a little bit more for gradual carve, where the smaller slots are a bit more like a acute or kind of carve. So here's how I fix it. Try to again check the knife.
Yeah, that's a new one. You got a new bending stick.
Try to find that the right slot.
Isn't it?
This one here is
Naoto, you can hear me, right?
medium bent.
Then use your voice. It's okay. We can talk over this. People can watch it later, Naoto.
Try to apply the pressure
You're allowed.
a little bit.
Oh, you can't because you echoes. Well, anyway, Naoto, we got a new sharpening stick.
Check the knife.
Did you make that one, or did we buy that?
See if you don't.
Naoto from Shibata-san.
Bend it. You want to be very careful, and you want to do it
he's just saying yes and no to me now.
Otherwise, it can bend pretty badly. So I do it very gradually and incrementally, so that it doesn't bend on the other side. So this small slots is great for the last bit of adjustment. Now you can see.
Well, Sakai sent us that. Thank you, Naoto.
Straight.
Well, it looks pretty straight now. I remember when I made a knife the first time with Andrew-san. I was making a knife, and he sent me for a coffee break. And when I went for a coffee break, he straightened my knife for me. Because it was so bad, and he was tired of watching me try to straighten it for hours. Because I had it not just crooked, but it was twisted, and then the blade had a warp in it too. Like there was so much bending, but he straightened it out with a hammer. And about 10 seconds of work. And I had messed around for about 40 minutes by that point to make it no better.
Down only one direction. If you find the knife is bent on the other way, flip your knife and do this way. The reason why you don't want to pull down is that you tend to put more pressure downwards, causing knife to bend more than you like to. So what I would do again is to put pressure down, but a little bit of a pressure at a time to bend it back. Check as often as you can and find another high spot of the bend.
I know that people always ask us how to do that, and they always think it's like so difficult, or there's a real trick to it, or a machine or something. And the truth is, your hand, the table, and a piece of wood with a groove cut in is all we use.
Don't worry too much.
Excuse me. I'm good at it now, but the first time when I had to do a forge knife, like fix it during the forging process, was just a disaster.
So now the knife.
The one thing to make sure is I always try to grab the steel instead of grab the handle, because you can kind of damage the handle or pull the handle off.
If you know other ways,
so make sure you're holding on to the steel.
Leave us a comment. We'd like to look at it. Or if you have any concerns or problems with knives, let us know in the comments so that we can make a video of it. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helps you to solve the problems you have with your knives. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and check out all the other videos that we have on our channel.
Nice one, Naoto. Good show. Nice one.
Gonna unmute. Good. All right.
You're back.
Well, the talking about Anryu-san, talking about Anryu and the Ikeda-san. I'm just gonna throw the link at the. For some reason the link doesn't. I can't put the links on the chat. I don't know if it's just it doesn't allow. But we just wrote the blog about the Ikeda-san becoming a fifth generation blacksmith, and officially fifth generation in Anryu Hamono, he's now in charge of the Anryu-san's factory. And Anryu-san is still working. He has not retired yet, but Ikeda-san has been a main blacksmith, or the guy who was forging a knife for mainly forging knives for the last 3 years. So just that title changed, and now he's officially a fifth generation Anryu.
Because Naoto, there's a rumor floating around the internet that the knives that were made last year were made by Anryu-san, and they're better than the knives made this year by Ikeda-san, which I think is funny because one, Ikeda-san's been making most of the knives for years anyway. Mm-hmm. Two, Ikeda-san's really skilled. And three, nobody can tell the difference between which one who made which knife, right? But there's this whole theory going around, and I know that people have been selling Anryu-san knives, saying this one for sure was made by Anryu-san, and they're selling them for like a lot of money on eBay. And I don't know if you know this, Naoto, but we're sitting on 30 Anryu-san Santokus that we use for training purposes. And we use those knives. Those are the ones we chip and we bend and we break the tip off of, and we dull them. And we use them for training purposes. And that's the knives that Mike and I are going to be using in our sharpening challenge here coming up. So maybe instead we should just sharpen those up and sell them off as Anryu-san knives.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I know it's really hard to understand as well. But it's I think it's a good thing that we have such good relationship with the Ikeda-san and Anryu-san, that we know what's going on, and so that we can tell people this is what's happening in Japan. And we wrote the blog, and there is a whole explanation what happened and what happens and what will happen next, right? So yeah, all the good things. Yeah,
this is fun. Dumb. I mean, blank says here's a dumb question, but it's not. They're wondering what san means when you refer to somebody. So
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
Here I'll tell you what I think, or what my experience has been, and then we'll talk about this. But in practice, it's I would say it's a lot like saying Mr. or Mrs. or Miss. It's an honorific. So in Japan, people try to call me Kevin-san, or actually I get Kevin-san a lot. I never get Kent-san, which I think would be more correct. But for example, Shibata, let's talk about Japanese names. So we talk about Shibata-san. Well, his first name is Takayuki, and his family name is Shibata. But use the family name, right? So more correctly, I probably should be called Kent-san, but I get Kebi-san. Kebi-san. And san is just the polite way to refer to somebody. And you would use, our friend Shibata-san, he always, he tells me, Kevin, call me Shiba. Don't call me Shibata-san. Just call me Shiba. Because we're buddies, right? We've known each other for 14 years now. But, if I'm talking about him, I will say Shibata-san, which is the most honorific, the most polite way. But Naoto, shed some light on this.
It is, yeah, it's definitely exactly what Kevin said. San is the honorific whatchamacallit,
Title.
yeah, well, yeah, title. It doesn't have any gender, so it doesn't only mean Mister. You can actually call a lady son as well, like a Sayaka-san or Koda-san, who is a blacksmith / sharpener / worker / shokunin in a Tojiro factory. We call her, often we call her Sayaka-san, but again, we should probably call her Koda-san.
Yeah, we probably should, but I'm a jerk that way or something. I just got it wrong.
But yeah, like it is not there are other ways of calling it, but san is most common.
What are some of the other honorifics or titles?
What
if we were talking about a child?
It's either chan or kun. Chan refers usually, so chan can be it can be very neutral. Can be like very small children, boy or girl, or toddler. Can be chan. Kun is very. It's usually refer only to a boy,
but usually kind of like an older boy, like maybe 6 and up to 18 or 15 or 20.
Yeah. And a funny thing,
right?
In the politics, in the parliament, they are all called by kun.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, it's like
why is that?
It's like honorable member of or something, in the parliament here. They are, they have all title kun, whether you are male or female. And I think it was female or called kun probably because it was all male before, and it was probably passed down. But yeah, in the parliamentary sessions and stuff, people were called with kun. There's also sama. That's the probably most honorable term. It's only usually done in the written form usually. So when I write email to any suppliers or any people in Japan, I have sama. So I have Shibata sama. I have the
I didn't know that. Now, is that a written and spoken, or just written?
Written. It's usually written.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I know that also we use chan sometimes as a really friendly title, like Hinura.
Yeah. The Muchan.
His friends call him Muchan.
Yeah.
It's the young Hinura, they call him Muchan.
Yeah.
Instead of Mutsumi. Mutsumi, thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to call him Muchan again.
Yeah.
So MRK says, I thought Sama referred to lords.
Was probably before. We still use them.
Charlie said similar.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. We use that still term in the written forms. When you write a letter, when you write letter to Japan, you always have sama at the end. Even when I write to my mom, I have sama in the end. It just
but also you would have to anyway. Don't you have to call your mom Kun then? Because isn't she a minister?
No. Yeah. But yeah, the sama was used for a lords. Lord was used for like warlords and stuff like that. But it's like warlords, like Otono-sama. But now we use them for the written terms as a honorific prefixes for people.
All right, Naoto, we got some announcements because we're coming to the end of our time here. We got some announcements.
Yeah.
Thursday at 7:15 Mountain, I think we can put up the caption for that, is Sharpening Night in Canada. So it's Thursdays at 7:15 Mountain, which is 6:15 Eastern, and also 9:15 Eastern time. It's Sharpening Night in Canada with Francis and Owen. And this week, they're going to talk about how to sharpen asymmetrical grinds. Maybe you can tell us what an asymmetrical grind is, Naoto.
I think what they are referring to, I don't know what they're going to do, but the asymmetrical grind often is the very popular, common way of sharpening in the region of Sakai. They have one side got a little bit more convex edge on the one, the other side is a little bit more flat, and I believe that's how they are going to sharpen. Like some Honesukis are sharpened like that. Some of the Sakai forged knives are sharpened like that. I've seen some Misonos being sharpened like that as well. It will create
the Misono Hanasuki big time like that.
Some the advantage is that the especially when you're making a chef's knife like that, it will fall off. Food will fall off from the knife really easy. The little bit of downside is that when you try to cut straight, like say couple inches thick of daikon radish, it can actually pull on the one direction. Also, you're making the knife a lot more right-handed bias or left-handed bias. So you may want to know what you're using it for. And if you're just sharpening for yourself, that's fine, but it may be a little bit different.
Yeah. Also, I don't think it's that important. I also don't think it's that important. I know there's a lot of talk on knife forums about, is that knife a 40-60 grind, or is it a 30-70 or a 50-50 or a 10-90? They're talking about like kind of degrees of like how far over the edge is to one way or the other. You know what? I'm pragmatic. Sharpen it so it feels great to you, right? I honestly think that these guys are like looking at it with microscopes and really going too far down a rabbit hole that isn't very deep. I've talked to Shibata-san about this, and I've talked to Masashi, and they both went, "Huh? What are you talking about? I just sharpen knives." So they didn't really have a lot to say about it, and they thought it was too far down a shallow rabbit hole. But anyway, I'm actually going to tune in and see what they're going to say tomorrow.
Yeah.
Coming up on Friday at 4 p.m. Mountain is Naoto's Nerdy Power Hour. And you are talking about how to sharpen your knife for different jobs. So maybe give us a preview of that. I'm really interested because that's one of my topics I like a lot.
This could be something that things that we discussed a little bit earlier about the judging criteria that we discussed about, right? The edge you are cutting a fish, the edge you're cutting a mostly meat, veg, sashimi should be slightly different from each other, and that's what I like to talk about. I'll probably have carrots and show people how they are going to cut with this kind of grind, that kind of stuff, as well as some other stuff to talk about. So hopefully it's going to be a little bit of fun show. Talking about, you mentioned the Francis, the Instagram, so I kind of wanted to play that the April Fool's video that they put out.
Oh yeah. Well, also here's Naoto's Instagram. If you look at Naoto's Instagram at NaotoKW and Naoto Knifewear, you can see a lot of. Sometimes there's a lot of food, which is great. I love Naoto's food, but sometimes there's some pretty weird repairs or wacky knife problems that he's had to deal with. So I think that's always good. And some of it's a bit horror show. It's like some very chipped and broken knives sometimes. Yeah. But anyway, show us that video. Yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself first. 1 second here.
So we don't get quite the echo feedback. Probably a good idea.
Finding Pacific natural stones. Yo guys, we're gonna let you guys in a bit of a secret here. I was telling Owen a story of Poseidon and how you can go to the beach and find these super rare natural
Poseidon.
stones that only appear once a year. You can only use a spoon in a broken natural stone, and eventually you'll find these super flat rocks. No joke. So from what I've heard from the story, you actually have to soak the natural stone in the ocean for about 15-20 minutes, and that will make it ready to use. The best part about these specific natural stones is they give off a super unique finish that I just can't explain. You guys have to try it out for yourself.
Oh my god. So we made this video for April Fools, and I like when we do April Fools jokes that are funny. I always dislike it when people fall for it and call the shop and want to buy them. So I feel bad about that. I don't know how many calls we got. I know that I got a couple of messages, direct messages saying, I need these. Where can I find them myself? I was like, I don't know. Looks like it was Kitsilano Beach to me. So there you go, Naoto. We got a few people with that one. I know that Kent of Inglewood, our sister store, launched scent-free cologne as well for people who work in a scent-free environment, like some offices and healthcare. And I know that we had at least one lady call looking for scent-free cologne, and we had to let her know it was a joke.
Yeah.
So I feel bad. I feel bad when we get people, but it's kind of funny. I thought anyway.
That's so funny.
Don't anger Poseidon.
Yeah.
Poseidon is the Pacific Ocean god of natural sharpening stones, I believe.
Yeah. Anyways, I just thought it was funny, and it's good to share with the with people there.
Do you want to show that Hanazuki video? Apparently, it's a Hanazuki video we're supposed to watch. Is it a long one or a short one?
I only have the long one and the YouTube link to it, so I'll probably urge people.
That's not going to work.
Go on the YouTube link. I'm gonna put that on here.
Yeah, so go to YouTube. You can watch our Hanazuki video. I should do one. I really like chopping chickens and using Hanazuki. Who knows? Maybe I'll be worse or better. That'd be fun. We should have a Hanazuki showdown. Oh, and then we can get some yakitori chef to grade us and to tell us how terrible we both are. That'd be fun. Some more announcements. Next week on Knifewear 101, Chris Lord might be back, and if he is, we're going to finally have the Great French Fry Show. We're finally going to make French fries, or not, because I know that a year ago we promised we were going to make French fries on a live show, and then we didn't, and then a lot of people were angry at us. So I think we're going to make French fries I'm going to do the Heston Blumenthal way, where you. Well, I'll tune in next week and you'll see. It involves 3 steps, and 2 of them I'll have to do ahead of time, I think. But it makes great French fries. You get a really crispy on the outside, and then you get like a real potato-y pillow on the inside. So it's my favorite way to make French fries for sure. And I think we're coming to the end here. Has there been any questions? No more questions, really. Oh, I guess there is a couple. Does the Masashi Kiritsuke Yanagiba have a D-shaped handle?
I thought they did. 1 second here.
Yeah, I can't recall off the top of my head. And someone asked if they could use that knife to slice a roast beef. And the answer is, of course. You can use a single bevel knife for slicing anything. It's what they're really built for, is slicing meat or fish. And if you use it, just make sure there's no bones. You don't want to be using a Yanagiba or Kiritsuke and touching bones, because you'll chip it.
One thing you want to be careful when you're carving a roast beef with the Yanagiba is that I've done it once. So when I had when I tried to slice up the ham, like say this is my ham, right?
Yeah.
Traditionally here, you have a fork stuck here, and you cut it from this end, right? You have a fork here, and you have the knife on the right, and you carve it down like this. It doesn't work this way with the yanagiba. It doesn't work this way with the yanagiba. You have to have the meat, and you have to cut it from. If you're right-handed, you have to cut it this. How do I explain that? So when you have a meat, don't cut it from this end. You have to cut it from this end.
Yeah, you cut it.
Wait, no, the other one. Wait, trying to. Yanagiba. Right.
Yanagiba. Yeah, let's look down here.
Okay,
This here is my nice piece of meat.
Yeah.
I would slice from this end. Put
No,
my fingers on it and slice this way.
You could do that, or you can do it the other way as well.
Like this way?
No.
With the bevel side up?
Bevel side is great for flat. Like, say when you're trying to slice down a cucumber or something with the, say, usuba.
Okay.
The flat side is great to keep the things flat. So you can put it down like this way, so that food falls off, like meat falls off, really nice in this way.
Oh, that makes sense, I suppose. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. You put the fork and you try to carve it this way.
Don't use a carving fork. Here's my theory about forks. Don't stab your meat with a fork. Use your fingers or use tongs if you must. Don't use a fork. There. That's my public service announcement. Don't use a fork. You'll chip your knife. You'll poke your meat full of holes. All the good juices will run out. Just don't use a knife. Or just don't use a fork. How about that, Naoto? Get rid of your carving fork, Naoto.
It cuts this way.
What a great little picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the food would just flip right off.
Yeah. So do that. Okay. Good.
Again, April 19, our first TV show called Sharpen Knives Rock will hit the airwaves, followed immediately by an after show. So if you tune in to our TV show, Sharpen Knives Rock, if you tune in on April 19th, watch the thing, and then following a few minutes after, I think we'll just run around and have a quick pee break, and then come back and we'll have an after show. You can ask all the questions you want.
Yeah.
And make all the comments and tell us we're stupid, so that's fun. Chris did a poll. I don't know what this is about. Chris told me he did a poll last week about do people like a wet dry or a dry brine. I don't know where this poll is or how this works.
I found this one here. Asking either they like a wet brine or a dry brine. And there's another answer called, what's the brine? So 47% people, 47% said the wet, especially for chicken. We had a lot of people saying, wet brine definitely for chicken. I would agree. I would do a wet brine for a chicken, and I would do dry brine for steaks and stuff. It's not really brining, right? I just basically almost like curing. Put the salt, leave it up so that it takes all the excess moisture out. And for those of you who don't know what the brine or brining is, Chef Kevin can explain a little bit, I guess.
You know what a brine is? A brine is the difference between a roast pork and a ham. Okay? Or pork belly and bacon, right? So a brine is salt. It's a way of getting salt into a meat, which changes the cell structure, which changes the overall effect of the meat. So you know how ham is very different from roast pork. It's just the effect of salt on it. So you can easily use a wet brine, which is water and salt mixture, like the ocean, or you can just use a dry brine, which is just salt and sugar that you would rub into it, and that draws the moisture out. Do you know what? I like a wet brine for chicken and turkeys. I like a dry brine for turkey as well. I like a dry brine for most pork products that I use. Like if I'm making a ham, I just bury it in salt, right? If I'm making a Serrano or a prosciutto style ham. I'll take a leg of ham. I'll prepare it. I'll trim what I want to trim. I'll pack, and then I'll just pack it in a chest full of salt, like burying it in a snowbank of salt. And then what I'll do is I'll take it out. I'll put it in the salt for 1 day per pound that it weighs, and then 1 extra day. Take it out, wash that off, let it dry, put lard on any of the exposed meat, and then hang it in my cellar for 14 months, and then eat it after that. Oh, so good. But that's definitely a dry brine method. You wouldn't want to wet brine something you're going to hang like that. There, does that answer any of the questions? Maybe.
Yeah, I think
yes,
so.
maybe no.
I mean, like in Japan, we do. It's not really brining, but we do cure the fish with a bunch of salt. Right?
Yes.
It's very similar.
In fact, there's so many methods of salting fish in Japan, and one of the most delicate methods is you put a piece of paper, a thin piece of rice paper on top, and then put the salt on top of that, and that draws moisture out without the salt penetrating in and giving it a salt flavor. Mm-hmm. Such a cool technique. I like that.
Yeah.
Blankbank says he's brining 3 pork shoulders and coffee, like with a coffee rub. There we go.
Pork shoulder and coffee sounds pretty good.
Will Chris Armitage be throwing a wet blanket on the after show as well? Well, I'll tell you what. As soon as we get Chris Lord back from being on a break, a Chris Armitage imposed break, we'll get back to our whole drinking and saying bad words and telling off-colored stories. And no, Chris Armitage can't throw a wet blanket on the after show because he's not invited. Ah! So there we go. Naoto, be aware. When we do the show on the 19th, it might be weird. It might get weird. And Mike will have to drink the coffee made with the sharpening water because I'm not drinking it. So I'm winning that stupid competition no matter what. I'm winning. Also, since you're judging the competition, Naoto, you have to remember who signs the paychecks. And it's not Mike. Okay? Mike doesn't sign paychecks, Naoto. So you have to think about that when you're judging who's the better sharpener, Kevin or Mike. You have to think about who's the big boss. It's hard for you, isn't it? Because Mike's your immediate boss. And I'm Mike's boss. So think about it, Naoto. Choose wisely. Alert, rice paper mentioned. We are getting sidetracked, says Admiral Longstash. Yes, we are. Naoto, it's been fun doing the show with you.
Yep, it's good. That's great.
And Iggy, thank you, Iggy. I'd forgotten about it, and I'd become unmad, but now I'm mad again. I'm angry. Mike should lose the sharpening competition by default for taking and using your tank. Iggy, I actually think my tank knife was Naoto's problem because it was on his desk is where I left it. I left it on Naoto's desk when I was at the warehouse. I forgot it. I left it on Naoto's desk, and somehow it made it from Naoto's desk to Mike's kitchen. So you draw your own conclusions there. But I know that Mike's house is not far from Naoto's house, and it's kind of on the way he drives too. And I know there's a liquor store just across the street that's got a great beer selection from Naoto's house, or from Mike's house. So I actually think that maybe I left a knife on Naoto's desk. My knife, my brand new knife that I've been after for years. I left it on his desk because I had other things on my mind that day. And then somehow that knife ended up at Mike's house, from Naoto's desk to Mike's house. And Mike lives across the street from a beer store that Naoto likes. And it's kind of on Naoto's route home. So I wonder, Naoto, how that Mike got my knife. I don't know. It would be hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know either. It may just, my office is not locked. And anyone can, and he has a key, and there are other people working in the warehouse. And sometimes I heard the knife can just walk by itself, and all those stuff.
Can you put Chris Armitage in a timeout? How do we do this? There's got to be a button here for timeout. Chris Armitage, you're getting put in a timeout for saying this stupid thing. Which button gives me a timeout? Do you know how to do this now, Toe?
What's that?
Do you know how to give someone a timeout?
Like,
You can
there's put the user in timeout on YouTube.
yeah, do that.
If you you can do that, you can click on the 3 dots on there.
There we go. Chris Armitage, you're not in timeout. You can't talk anymore. Ha! So there we go. Somehow Mike stole my knife. I think it was you, Nalto, that did it. Or Ellie, her desk right beside yours, but I think it's you. And because there's a lot of evidence that says it was you. Anyway, MRK says Mike just wanted to check my knife to see if it was in acceptable condition before I picked it up. It was acceptable. I already saw it. I can't believe it. I actually can't. I've been waiting for years for this stupid knife. You guys ruined it again. I don't know why you guys hate me. So there you go. So Mike has to lose the sharpening competition. I will do everything I can. I'll even try hard. I'll try hard to win this one. And I'll try to bribe Naoto probably, or threaten him.
There's a blank is saying the best food to smoke. We can probably have this as a the little poll question on the YouTube, and you guys can if I'm doing it or you, I don't know who's doing it, but you guys can talk about it next week.
Okay, Naoto, what do you like to smoke?
The brisket is definitely.
I like to eat smoked brisket. I don't like to smoke it because I screw it up every time I make it dry.
Right. Well,
I like to smoke ribs. I think ribs are really forgiving. I like to smoke ribs, and I really like smoking fish now. I've been smoking a lot of fish lately. Just fatty fish, right?
Right.
Like mackerel and salmon, right?
Yeah.
Super easy.
If it's the
definitely lake trout. If I could catch a lake trout, I would totally smoke it. But I can't seem to ever trick a lake trout onto my line.
Smoking, I don't have much experience, and I don't have these things to smoke for that.
What do you like eating? What do you like eating that's smoked?
Brisket is definitely my favorite things being smoked.
Smoking.
But the definitely some cold smoke like smoked salmon and stuff like that are fantastic. Some cold smoke or very these days you see some instant smoking, right? One of those smoking guns, and you just make it smell like smoke. Like there's very smoked cheddar that's and there are some restaurants in Japan that does a very short smoke. It's okay.
Like if you're talking about tataki.
Tataki is actually flaming. Yeah.
Well, it's smoked and it's they do everything wrong. They light a bunch of hay on fire, and then they throw. So the flames are coming up high, and then they just kind of put the meat on top of the flames. The flames lick right around the food, right around the katsuobushi, the katsuo loin, and they have the flame going all over it, and they make it all black on the outside, and it just have everything that's supposed to be wrong about cooking, except it's great.
Yeah. Have you had the tataki in Kochi? It was fantastic. Yes. It was best thing.
Because that's a Kochi delicacy, man.
Yeah, I know. It's all the tataki I've had before was so wrong and different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People do it just wrong everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's so good. You get that smoky hay flavor. You get the flavor of the flame licked meat. It's so good. It's so good.
Anyways,
Listen, I think we're done. In fact, you know what I'm going to do now? So I've got, as you know, we test a lot of knives, right? We get a lot of knives through our hands. Mm-hmm. We buy a lot of samples. We get a lot of knives given to us, that sort of thing. This here is a knife from a Canadian knife maker on Salt Spring Island. His name is Cosmo.
Oh yeah, Cosmo. Nice.
Yeah. And this is a sample knife we were looking into. We decided not to. But what I wanted to say was we're looking at getting more Canadian blacksmiths for camping knives in our Kent of Inglewood store. So if you know a Canadian blacksmith that makes great camping knives, we'd like to talk to them. And this is one of the things I need to do to this knife is actually I need to sharpen it. It's just not sharp, right? It's one of these things. A lot of blacksmiths, they don't know how to sharpen very well. Do you ever watch that Forged in Fire show? My God, it's like, how many of those knives just aren't sharp, right? It always makes me crazy. So this is beautiful knife, beautiful knife.
Yeah,
and I'm a huge fan of Cosmo's knives. Yeah. But I'm going to try to get it sharp now because it's just not sharp. Awesome. Oh, Admiral Longstash is talking about smoked eels. Man, I love smoked eels. I love smoked eels. Oh, so good. But anyway, now I'm just going to sharpen this knife on our way out, unless you have something to say.
No, that's good. Like, if you like the show, just like us and subscribe, and we'll have lots of different shows coming up. We'll have the recorded ones, and we'll have the and lots of unique shows like how to chip your knives. We do have live events like every week, 3 at least a week. So check us out. We like to hear from you. So leave a comment. I may just gonna start another topic about the what to smoke, but it's gonna be a little bit hard because you have to have a lot of different things. But yeah, thanks for watching. And I think it's good to wrap it up right here. Kevin?
I think so. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we were good and well-behaved enough today that Chris Lord's allowed to come back. If not, Naoto and I will do the show again.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And there's no outro, right? So we're just going to say bye.
I wish we had an outro. I could get my guitar and play something badly if you like.
Yeah. We will have we should... If we have an outro, that would be actually pretty fun.
I know. Well, we'll talk about that. Mike's been working on an unlistenable version of Stairway to Heaven on his guitar lately. Oh. So we could have Mike play, and you would never know what the song was. So that's quite good. All right. Awesome. Cheers, everyone. I'm going to sharpen this. Awesome. And we'll we got an A for behavior. Thank you, James Dean. Yeah. Because Naoto's here to keep us in line. Thank you, Naoto, for being mature and responsible. Remember, dislike and unsubscribe as soon as you can. That's the way to go, because if you like this stuff, we'll have to do it again. So dislike, unsubscribe. That's the future. And we have those shirts now available on the website. If you go to the knifewear.com website, there's a link for shirts, and you can buy a dislike and unsubscribe Japanese Knife 101 shirt just for you. I should get one myself. All right.
All right. Ciao.
Thanks, man. I'll see you soon, Naoto. I'll see you tomorrow.